Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel on Land Matters. My name is Abigail Bagaya Mukolu, a land and land governance expert practicing in Nairobi, Kenya. I'm so sorry we've been away for so long. My apologies, life happened and we got a little bit busy, but now we are back because we must still continue to talk about this issue called land. Because land is so important and all of us are on this land. We must find a way on how we are going to live on this land, all of us, peacefully, and then use the land sustainably for prosperity and posterity. Now, on today's episode, I want to talk about leases. Because you saw what happened the other day in Westlands. Watu wakaamuka tu, wakaenda wakabomoa nyumba ya mtu. Sitaki kwenda into the merits and the demerits, but I just want to talk about leases. What is a lease and what happens when your lease expires? Can people wake up from somewhere and come and knock you down because your lease has expired? So what is a lease? Those are the questions we are going to answer in today's episode. You remember I talked about issues of government land. The government can actually allocate you land. And I'm saying both national and county. They both own land. And they can allocate you land to use for various purposes. And I talked about the circumstances under which the national government or the county government, in this case the government, can allocate land to you. So you can apply to the government that you want them to give you land to use for a specific purpose for a certain period of time. And the government will take your consideration and they can allocate you land. But now when the government allocates you land, what they normally do, they will give you a lease. They will give you a lease of a specific piece of land that has been approved to be allocated to you. So the land would have been planned, and assuming that all the other processes have taken place, it is properly approved, then they can allocate you that land. Now, when the government allocates you land, what they do is that they'll give you this land for a certain period of time. They'll give you maybe for 30 years, 50, 99, or 99 years. Before we used to have the 999 years, but in the new constitution, they said the longest term of a lease can only be 99 years. So the government gives you this land on a lease for a certain period of time. And when you're given this land, you're supposed to pay rent for the use of this land. So they will determine the rent. Evaluation will be carried out by the National Land Commission. You will be advised on the amount of rent that you're going to pay. Thereafter, a document will be drawn up for you. They will state the conditions of the lease. They will also state for you the use at which that land will be put. So the land can be for residential purposes, it can be for industrial, it can be for a school, it can be for agricultural purposes. So the user will determine the conditions that have been set out for you and how you're going to use that land. So this lease, like I said, will run for a certain number of years. So let us say you handle this, they take the lease, you start using it, then sooner or later, the 50 years are over or the 99 years are over. So that means your lease expires. So your lease expires. And let us say in the process, you had not applied for an extension of lease. In other words, what happens is that when you are given a lease, you're also allowed in the middle, you can say, hii lease sasa imebaki miaka 35, let me do an extension. So you can do an extension of lease. But let us say you did not do an extension. The extension of lease is normally to add you a certain number of years. For example, you say I had 99 years, sasa nimetumia zimebaki 30. Instead of waiting for the 30 to get finished, you can apply to the same government. You tell them to extend the lease for you for a further term of 99 years. Then the government look at your application and they'll give you an extension of lease. Then you'll have a new lease starting from the date the approval has been given for a further term of 99 years. But then let us say in this case, you never applied for the extension of lease. Lease yako ikaisha. What happens in this case? In this country, like somebody said, there are people just walking around looking at people's, wana peep kwa maboma za watu, wanaangalia, ati hiyo boma ni ya nani? Oh, hiyo shamba sioni mtu. Oh, hiyo ilikuwa ya Mwindi. Oh, hana relatives, alibaki peke yake. Oh, hiyo ilikuwa ya mzungu mkoloni, lakini alienda kwao akakufia ng'ambo. So there are people who are busy looking around and saying that lease expired, it has no owner. Oh, then they begin to look and find ways on how they can invade that particular property. Is that legal? Absolutely not. The only way they are able to invade those kinds of properties is because they're also engaging in fraudulent activities. In fact, I would really like to know where they get those documents from. They're going to prepare leases, new leases purporting to be the owners of the land. How? Let me tell you what happens when your lease expires. And this is what the law says. And I like to say, Kenyans, tusome sheria. What does the law say on expiry of leases? I want to take you back to the Land Act. You know, we have the Land Act 2012, Section 13. What it says is this: if you are the immediate holder of the lease and your lease expires, the holder of the lease has a preemptive right. They have a preemptive right to the renewal of that lease. In other words, they have the first option to refuse. So if your lease expires, you have the first option to refuse the lease, the extension of the lease. The renewal of the lease, sorry. Lease yako yaki expire, you must refuse that you don't want to renew the lease before anybody else can be given. And that right is guaranteed and protected by the law. So there are many people out here who are holding leases. Their leases have expired, they are just scared. They don't even know how to do. Don't be scared. You are protected by the law. Get out. Get your leases renewed. Start to follow the process. There's a process on how leases can be renewed. And in my next episode, I'm going to talk about the process on how to renew a lease. So don't fear. You are protected by the law. Section 13 of the Land Act. You have the first right to refuse. In other words, you have the preemptive right for the extension of the lease. Sasa hii mambo yenye wakora wanafanya, wanaangalia mashamba za watu jemalizi ma expire, wanajaribu kurukaruka juu. It is illegal. It cannot happen. Afadhali uongee na mwenye shamba umuulize, can I buy from you? Buy. Approach them and see if you can buy the lease. By the way, you can buy the remainder of the lease. You can buy a property because we normally value what we call an expired lease term. We carry out a valuation of the expired lease term and we determine the value of the property. So you can buy that property from somebody an expired lease term. But this person has the first right to refuse to extend their lease. So badala ya kurukaruka na kuona vile kunyakua mashamba za watu ukora, let me tell you, you cannot have it. And that tabia has to stop. It is not a good thing at all. The immediate holder of the lease has a preemptive right. So ladies and gentlemen, I know many people are holding leases wameogopa. Msiogope. Tafuteni professionals. Let them help you and take you through the process on how you can renew your lease. You have nothing to fear. You are protected by the law. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. On my next episode, I'm going to talk about how we are going to renew leases. Thank you and God bless you. Bye.